Season 5, Episode 10 of Yellowstone, titled The Apocalypse of Change, is an hour and 9 minutes long. Now, I will say that these shows and these episodes are very slow going, very character driven, developed. We see the scenery of Montana, the cattle, the cowboys, and it's like, all right, let's get going, let's move the story along. Well, it's not too bad this episode. Not much happens after the events of we finding out that evidently John Dutton committed suicide, but we know that did not happen. And the interesting thing about it is that we start off with this episode with Rip and his crew in Texas with the cattle and everything, and he's looking for Dieter, and he can't find her. She's in her tent, and there's a rattlesnake. And we find out that they have camped on a snake den, and they have to get everything going and happening. And the next day, Beth is driving along, gets pulled over on the side of the road in Texas, and then goes out to see Rip, take him back to a suite. They have their fun time. They go into a speakeasy. They talk, and Rip knows she's up to something, but what that is, we don't know. She asks about the cattle around here, how much cattle there is, how much could it cost and everything. And then this episode jumps around. One moment you're in Texas, next thing you're back at Montana, and it's like craziness is happening. But then we see Casey and his family fixing up the house that they bought and everything. And then we see that, the news is coming forward and everything on the news is saying John Dutton this, John Dutton that. And it's like, oh, okay. But then we see Beth, and we see her come into the living room, into the house, and then we see Summer standing there. And it's like, wow, totally forgot about her character. Didn't even think about it. And of course, her and Beth keep going at it. Beth drives her down to the ranch, asking for a ride to the airport. Rip gives her a ride to the airport. But Beth has a motive to go somewhere. And she goes to see Jamie at his office. And she smacks the shit out of him. Not once, but 3 times. 3 to 4 times, I believe. It's like, just look at me. Just look in the eyes. Because she wants to prove something. He doesn't look her in the eyes at all. Dead. Just doesn't stare at her. So it's given that he had some kind of doing into it. She runs into that bimbo, Sarah. I believe that's her name. I really couldn't give 2 shits about what this character's name is. But she started everything. We see her and another gentleman talking to Jamie. They're figuring things out, what to do, and we see that, oh, we'll support you if you run for governor. And it's like, oh, okay. And then she comes around the table, puts the dress off, he goes down on her, yada, yada, yada. And, Casey kind of gets a phone call from Beth, and Beth's like, it was him, he did it. But Casey's like, I don't think he did. Doesn't have that kind of pull. And of course, he's correct. He doesn't. So Casey gets on his phone with one of his friends who was in the special ops, and I forgot Casey was in that. It's been so long since I've seen the first season. And then Casey talks to his friend over an app, so you don't trace the calls or anything, because of course it's, underground business. You don't want to really talk about things like that. And, Casey is going to dive deep into everything, and he has to go back to the ranch and figure everything out, because Casey now is the heir to the ranch, and then it'll be Tate, his son. Really interesting episode, I want to say. And then you have other lining factors of things happening, this is happening. But other than that, it was a really mundane episode. I will say that even though, we heard of John Dutton committing suicide, like, where's everybody mourning? They're not mourning like you think they should be. Where's the funeral happening? Like, what's going on with that? Is the process still, like, is the ending of this series the funeral of John Dutton, or is it just something else? Will Jamie meet his demise? Will he chicken out like he is the chicken shit that he is in the character of that he is? Will he actually say, like, oh, she did this, she had everything because I don't want to ruin my reputation at all? Well, a lot of questions still need to be answered, and it's like, okay, what is really going on? This is more so now part 2 of season 5. Rip and Beth focused, and also Casey focused, which is really, really good. Jamie, he's a side character. Of course, he is the bad guy, but he's weak at heart. Very, very weak at heart. But it's going to be interesting to see, with only 4 episodes left up until the series finale, which is, as of this review, December 15th, 2024. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. Who dies? Who survives? Will the ranch move on? And basically in the next few episode, sneak peek, you see Beth say the legend of, or the kind of the legend of this ranch is basically trying not for it to collapse, so it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Beth is a Spitfire. Rip just deals with Beth. And it's like Casey's getting involved more and more now. It's like, okay, this is the side of Casey I've wanted for close to 3 to 4 seasons. And it's like, wow, it's finally really happening. And then you can slowly see that this series finale, or this finale of Yellowstone, because it's not going to be on anymore, is leading to the 4/6 series premiere, which I don't know if I'll watch that or not. But if it's like this, if it's slow and mundane, it's not going to happen. It's not going to do anything. But then also with Summer, does she really get on the plane to go somewhere? Is her character, that's it? We don't, since there's no John Dutton, you just, write her character off as it is. That's lazy writing. But the question remains, what's going to happen? What can happen? What will happen? A lot of things are going to happen, and it's going to pick up and rev up in the next closing few episodes. And it's just interesting to see how it will all happen. Or, thing is, the last time we saw John, he was talking to his daughter, Beth. What did they come up with? Did they kind of plan it where, they want to blame Jamie and everything because they knew everything was happening? And Beth is always one step ahead, and it's going to be interesting to see if that's the case. So many ideas or predictions for a show like this, and it got people talking after it came back with episode 9, and that's what people wanted, and that's what we got. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about season 5 episode 10 of Yellowstone. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the story? Do you like that it's slow going and nothing happens until the last 25 minutes? Do you like that? Or do you like that it's what it is and it's drawn out? Or do you want things to happen over and over again where it's just like boom boom boom, one thing after another, and it keeps the story going and moving? What do you think is going to happen in the rest of this series, knowing that it's the end right now? Do you think that, John Dutton really did commit suicide? We know he didn't. And I know he didn't. But, is he really dead, or does he just, move away? Is he gone? What happened? What did John and Beth talk about the last time we saw them together? What's the whole aspect with Jamie? And who is going to be the one to really, really end everything, and who will move on the legacy of the Dutton Ranch and the Dutton name? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. I'm Mr. Filmstock. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next review video. And be sure you tune in next week to my Season 5, Episode 11 review of Yellowstone.